humans. Welcome back to the podcast. Hey, what if the secret to a happy life, to a joyful life, to a more fulfilled life was living like a dog? Is that possible? I think it is, and I think you'll agree with that statement when we get through this conversation, and it will all make sense. So let's get started.
This is a production of Pioneer Dream, celebrating 30 years of moving stories for corporate, nonprofit, and entertainment partners. Please help us keep the conversation going by rating, liking, and subscribing to this podcast. Thank you. Also, make sure to check out our other podcast, Mixed Up Mystics, featuring refreshingly honest conversations about Christianity, and Got a Minute mini podcast, presenting funny stories and independent music, all in about 15 minutes. Now, here's Jay and Anjanette Webster.
What is up, fellow humans? Welcome back to the podcast. Hello, Anjanette.
Hey, what's going on?
Man, just so many wonderful things.
Oh.
So many things I just can't even count them all right now.
Okay. Well,
Have you ever met someone and you thought, I'd like to be more like them? I'd like almost like a pseudo mentor. Like I wish I could be chill like them. I wish I could be cool like them, maybe funny. Or
I mean, it's tough because I live with you,
please,
so
you're
every
the person
day-
people are aspiring to be.
No, you're the person, or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But outside of this circle, tiny
Yeah.
circle here, a couple people,
Yeah.
like Bono. Is
Yeah.
that what you mean?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hold on to that thought.
All right.
Let's talk about our announcements real quick first before we get into all that. Hey, friends, you may or may not remember that we have our next Dreamers Live event, the Outdoor Edition, coming up on May 1st.
Yes.
We will be outside our good friends, Harry and Mary Deeth, have a place in downtown in the Ville. It's in a historic home. It's beautiful. It looks like it came out of a movie.
It
looks
is
like,
so cool. And they have renovated it and just made it ultra cool.
as we say, we call it the Jerry. It's the
It's
Jerry
the
home.
Jerry, man, for sure.
Right.
Yeah. So they've graciously offered to let dreamers meet in their beautiful backyard and courtyard, which is going to be super cool.
So if you are in the region and you've always wanted to come to Dreamers, or you come to Dreamers all the time, join us. It'll be 5 to 7. It's cocktail hour kind of thing.
Yeah.
It'll be super light and refreshing. I've already checked the extended
Oh,
forecast.
there's an extended.
You know there is. It's kind of like they take the almanac and trends and everything, and they just say this is what you should expect.
You know, you're a bit young to love the radar as much as you do.
It's a lot happening there. Yeah. So it looks like great weather so far.
Good.
And so just bring your lawn chair and a friend, and we'll have some beverages and some stuff, some light snackage and all that jazz.
Yeah.
But it'll be well worth it to be out there and to be with us. And we'd love to be with you in that night. So that's May 1st
Yes.
on Friday night.
Yeah, looking forward to it
5 to
already.
7, and we'll get you the address and stuff. You can always go to dreamerscoalition.com to get stuff on the podcast or to find out what we're doing or learn more about Dreamers. But that's also where, if you hit the live button, it will have all the dates for Dreamer Live events and stuff like that. So, yeah,
Yes.
check that out.
All right, I'm ready. I've got it on my calendar.
And I know Evangeline just told you about Got a Minute. I just want you to know we just recorded one of the episodes of Got a Minute, the mini podcast. That's our short, what it says, mini podcast. Let me expound on it so it's no longer mini. And but anyway, it's a funny episode called "The Problem with Pants."
Oh,
Yeah, and anyway, you might or might not be
feel
able to
that.
identify it. Yeah, it's a funny thing. And then we get to hear a song from you that many people have not had a chance to hear, which is called "Let Your Burden Down."
lay your burden
lay your
down.
burden down.
Yeah,
Let your burden down.
down. I mean,
That's a
that
whole
kind of
thing.
works.
Both
That's-
of them would be great. So
Okay, cool.
Yeah, lay your burden down, and you tell us a little bit about the backstory of that song, the origin story.
Oh,
And
nice.
it's so worth it. So check your podcast wherever you get podcasts. It's available anywhere, which means it's available everywhere.
Okay.
So check it out. Got a Minute mini podcast. You'll see our faces on there, and you'll know you have the right one. So it's a little bit of humor, a little bit of music, and it's very short. So yeah, check it
Yay.
out. Let me back up a step
Okay.
and just say you grew up with some dogs as pets in your
Yeah.
and there were two in particular that, I know you had other dogs, some short-lived, some longer, but you had two dogs that were kind of
Yes.
there in the Centerport of your growing up there?
Nice usage of Cinderport.
Centerport.
Centerport.
Yeah.
I thought it was like Cinderport. I was like, I've never heard that word.
Yeah. And you haven't.
Impressive. It's because you made it up. But actually, Cinderport sounds like a cool word.
Tell us about the most prominent dogs in your adolescent history.
For most of my life, the two dogs that we had had little toy poodles.
Yes.
So some would say they don't qualify as dogs, like if they're from the big dog persuasion, like yourself.
Yeah. No, I feel that way about Chihuahuas. I don't feel that way about poodles.
Poodles are pretty cool. I
Yeah.
mean, and they don't yip a lot. They're
intelligent. You could see them like wearing glasses or something like that, being astute, observant.
Maybe a scarf,
kind of thing. Yeah.
that kind of a thing.
Certainly holding a martini or cocktail or maybe a bourbon or something.
Yeah, maybe smoking a cigar.
Yeah,
you know. But anyway, they were two really cute little toy poodles. So they would probably weigh maybe like 3 or 4 pounds. One was a little larger than the other.
Okay. Well,
it happens.
No one's drawing any comparisons.
No. Yeah. And they were really cute. They were white, but both of them had like a little bit of apricot fur on the top, but they were mostly white. And my mom would work really hard to give them good Christian names, as you would say,
Right.
like official names that would go on their papers and stuff like that. And then my dad would very quickly give them a nickname that suited them better. Happens with people as well.
Yes.
But anyway, these two dogs, one was named Joy, Joy, and that was actually her name. And she didn't really get a nickname because her name was kind of short and cute.
It was already
Joy.
kind of a nickname.
Yeah, we called her Poodle Joy. And then the second one was her official name was Crystal Candy Puffin Stuff. So doesn't that seem like so? Yeah, it seemed like something that my mom would give her. Very cute, Crystal. And so mom tried to call her Crystal, and my dad quickly named her Bobo the Wonder Dog. And so it was Joy and Bobo.
Yeah.
Is what we called them. But they were super cute and they were pretty chill. Both of them were chill. And they would kind of just be like cute and they would sit on the couch with you.
Yes.
Bobo learned a few tricks, which were really just things that my dad made up.
To do.
Yeah, exactly. Like he would hold
for
her
entertainment value only.
hold her paw up and she could do math. So he would say, Bobo, what is 1 + 1? And then he would hold up both of her paws like 2. Okay, so that was the simple math that she could do. And then also Bobo the Wonder Dog could also play guitar.
Right.
But that can
She had trouble with the fingering, with the chords, but the strumming she got down.
It's tougher when you just have paws and little dog fingernails. But that would consist of my brother holding a guitar and putting the left hand down on the strings of the guitar to make a certain chord.
Right.
And then my dad taking Bobo's paw and strumming with her. So that's kind of the
and
extent
Bobo
of it.
was somewhat reluctant, but did it.
She
didn't have a lot of choice.
Yeah, she just kind of had to look like, what's happening? Who do I live with?
Yeah.
And then Joy was really my favorite. We got her when I was 5, and she was sweet. She was kind of quiet, and she was a little chubby, and I just felt like she kind of got me.
There was a knowing.
There was like
This was spirit to spirit there.
She understood me.
Yeah,
you
deep
know?
calls to deep.
And like she would know if I was upset in my teen years, and she would just come and sit on me and hang out with me. So she was sweet. She also had this unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
She had pretty bad breath.
Yes.
Yeah.
As dogs
like,
want to do.
Yeah, like bad poodle breath. And then also she had
But
this.
in their defense, it's hard to hold a toothbrush, really. It's just, you want to take care of stuff.
Well, and they really only do like the dental visits for dogs like every couple of years. And it consists of just making sure that none of the teeth are falling out. And if they are, just, checking
what are
it.
you going to do?
Right.
Right.
And then she also had this kind of like weird affectation where she would kind of lick all the time, like,
yeah,
with the bad breath. So, but I got her and I felt like we understood each other. Sometimes we felt like we didn't fit in, like most people in their teen years and stuff. But she was very sweet.
Yeah,
she was my first
I
spirit
was
animal.
fortunate to meet both Crystal, Bobo, and Joy. Yeah.
Yeah. This is great. Little memory lane.
Yeah, I had 2 significant dogs.
Okay.
The first dog was Sandy, which was like, I can still remember pulling up to get Sandy. We lived in Coffeyville, Kansas at the time. And that kind of joy or expectation, that wasn't even something like that would enter my mind. Like, it's not a thought like, hey, wouldn't it be nice to have a dog? It just wasn't a possibility.
Yeah, it didn't even.
Yeah. And somehow someone, I guess, had a litter or something. I don't know. But it was a friend of ours And somehow we ended up with one of the dogs.
Oh.
And she was the, if you look up in the encyclopedia, when we had those, if you were to Google Cocker Spaniel, you would see Sandy. She was just the textbook beautiful Cocker Spaniel.
Oh, those are
she had
cute.
sandy hair, which is how she got her name. Very creative.
Right.
And so anyway, she was just really perfect, kind of a little edgy for a Cocker Spaniel. And Mom thinks it's because she got teased a little bit from some kids, some adult, some big kids.
So she was a little like skittish, I guess.
She just, didn't have much tolerance for other kids and stuff. So, but she loved me.
Yeah,
even though
her
I
one
was,
person.
a teen boy, so semi-abusive at some level, like we trying to hold a dog down or make it do some things.
Right, yeah.
And then she would just kind of nip at you like, hey, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And but
she loved you anyway.
Oh my gosh, she was so great. She couldn't conceal any amount of excitement that she had about you. She would just, her whole body would wag when she was excited, and then she would puddle the floor. I mean, she would just literally pee herself. She was so excited. And and I would, there were a great number of years in there where she was close to be my only friend, and so we would go on walks together. And
I felt like that about Joy
I would
too.
talk to Sandy, and Sandy would talk back, and I'd sing to Sandy, and Sandy would sing back, and we'd do duets.
So sweet.
Yeah, and she was amazing. And then later we got Maddie, who was a chocolate brown Labrador, and she was super, super chill. And just was, just kind of radiated this calmness and coolness and, all that kind of stuff. And what brought all this to me, brought this to mind was you had, as we often do, we hear something someplace and you say, oh, you got to listen to this, you got to listen to that, whatever.
Sure.
And so you were talking about this podcast, a series of podcasts that we really like called The Next Big Idea. And you're talking about this podcast that you'd heard about kind of oversharing and stuff. And it immediately took me to this place about dogs.
Yeah.
And the way that dogs are just dogs never play it cool.
Oh, right.
Dogs never try to disguise their feelings. If they are excited to see you,
That's
I'm excited to see you. And their whole body kind of
just
shimmers and shakes and says,
unlike cats, who could totally
they're
care
just going to
less.
hide from you.
They're just going to be like, oh, you again.
Out of reach, emotionally and physically out of reach. And but dogs are just, they are who they are, and they don't care what your station is. They don't care if you're the cook or the owner. They don't care.
Right.
They'll protect you.
Yeah.
They don't care if somebody else is cool in the room. They don't hide any of that stuff. They just want you to know I love you. And like you were saying, they do have this kind of mysticism about them where they kind of know what you're feeling. They can read you. And if you need like a certain extra sense of love or affection, they want to do that.
They will. They'll find the person in the room that's kind of down and sit with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's real sweet.
And I just thought we should be more like dogs. We should, we should go, if we're excited to see somebody, just don't play it cool. Just tell them, I'm like you. I'm excited to see you.
I like you.
My whole body's going to let you know. You give kisses on the cheeks. That's great. You should have better breath probably than a dog.
Joy, yeah.
But I did listen to the podcast that you recommended, and it was super cool, as most of those podcasts are on the Next Big Idea program.
Yeah.
So this lady, Leslie John, who was like, I guess, like a ballerina, like a professional.
Yeah. So growing up, she was a professional ballerina. Let's talk about intensity.
Which was like hearing my story when she started talking. I was like,
yeah, that's it. Back when you were a professional ballerina. But yeah, intense focus, the whole thing. And then she, after that, and this is a high achiever person.
Yeah.
Then she went into, was it neuroscience or behavioral science at Harvard?
Yeah. I was going to do that.
She's, exactly. After being a ballerina. And so, the name of the book she wrote, I'm not getting it exact, but it was like the overrated. Did you have it? Oh, good.
Underrated power of
oversharing, which is great. And she was so cute.
Yeah.
Like as soon as the interview started, She was like a dog, a sweet,
Yes,
like a happy. She
right.
was just like, "Hi, I'm so glad to be here, and this is
Which
so
is
great."
taken, which is I don't think was natural for her. I mean,
Right.
she has achieved this level of dogdom. She's achieved this level of
Dogdom.
canine,
Yeah.
the canine spirit, like a black belt in canine,
Yeah.
and where
Yeah.
she kind of did the research. She kind of found all this stuff by studying humans and essentially kind of what it takes to make relationships of depth.
Exactly.
Because, as we've talked about it on our podcast a lot,
Mm-hmm.
that humans are the new superdrug. So as far as health and joy and longevity, all those kinds of things, humans are the link. And having relationships with humans is just central to being healthy in every state.
Yeah, definitely.
And even living longer. And not just having relationships, but relationships of depth.
Yes, meaningful relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so she, kind of got to this ninja status in terms of being friendly and loving toward people
Right.
and not playing it cool at all.
Yes.
And just saying, I want to be close to you. I want to be your friend. And, here's the deal. And all her cards are on the table. And so it was cool to listen to her.
Well, she's become, in this role that she's in now at Harvard, she's become a researcher. So she posits questions. They do a bunch of research on it, and then they do, extended group research where they go out and they, find the answers to these questions. And so one of the things that she figured out through this research, or that they figured out through this research, is that in order to kind of create these life-saving relationships, these life-changing relationships, depth is necessary.
Right.
So it's not just enough that you know a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's knowing people at a certain depth, a certain level. And,
Yes.
and one of the things that's necessary for achieving those relationships is sharing, is letting someone in.
Being honest.
It's
with
not,
people.
it's letting these deflector shields down, as your dad would say.
Yeah.
And sharing things that are intimate.
Yeah.
Inside of you.
Yeah. And part of what she talked about, if I remember, was the idea that you can accelerate that.
Yes.
So we tend to, if you think about how many hours it takes to become close to somebody, and in our particular culture, Western culture, but particularly in the United States, which makes sense, we're pretty concerned about our image and playing cool. And one of
Yes.
our biggest values that we have as a culture is independence. And that's great, except for you can cool your way into having no friends
Right.
and having not any meaning in your life.
Yes.
And so so she just, like I said, shows her cards early.
Right.
And so it's a pretty interesting, we have a friend, shout out to Jay Wenzel,
Yeah.
our good buddy, but we call it, she lives where we are part of the time. And so she's not here all that time. So we try to get together with her anytime she's in town. And we just started we called it speed friending. Like you've heard of speed dating.
Right,
So rather
right.
than just be like, the formalities, it would be like, we pretty quickly would be like, well, what do you feel about this? Or, that kind of a thing. And I think it's possible to maybe expedite some of that.
Well, we grew up, and I think it's probably true in a lot of industries, but in our particular commercial industry of, film and video production, which is what we've done for 30 years. And then also,
Advertising and marketing.
yeah, and then also you as a musician especially, we discovered early on that within that industry and within our friendships within that energy, whatever somebody else was working on was always bigger than what you were working on.
Yeah.
And we felt
Trying
compelled.
to out-impress each other.
Yeah, we felt compelled to put your best foot forward, put your best face forward, put your best project forward, always talk up what you're doing. And,
Right.
And
And
if
that
you're,
grossed us out from the beginning.
whatever you're doing, I'm going to do it better. And,
Right.
And it did cause this distance. We were so busy building ourselves up that we didn't allow for really depth in the relationships and friendships because it was too competitive in that way. And we were younger, but I think it still holds true. There are still people that we're
Yeah.
in friendships with who are just always working on something that's much bigger and cooler than you are.
Yeah.
And we finally just, as your dad would say, we just finally would start by saying, you win.
Yeah.
I'm just going to let you know that what you're doing is bigger.
And
whatever
people
it
would
is.
say,
You know,
so
you
now
win.
people say, what are you working on? I don't know. I mean, a couple things. It's not going great.
Well, yeah. I show up. We work out in a group setting, which has really been great.
Yeah.
And the only reason that I'm successful at working out on an ongoing basis is because
Of those
I don't
people.
have to make that thing up, and people are expecting me to be there. And,
Yeah.
So when you come in, you do the obligatory, how are you? What's going on? How are things?
Yeah.
And I've just have grown accustomed lately to answering, I don't know. How are you doing? I don't really know
I don't
yet.
know. I mean,
really
it's,
sure yet.
it's morning time. I'll let you know.
How you doing? I'm good enough.
Yeah,
and
I like that.
And that's the reality of the answer. I'm good enough.
Yeah.
Instead of I'm great or fine or blasé.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we ask that question, but we don't really give that answer. How are you doing? I don't know.
Yeah.
And Leslie makes this call for an action, which is to even in new relationships to divulge something that essentially costs you a little bit or is essentially
vulnerable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And not in a gross way, not in a, I got this toe jam I'm not sure what I'm going to do about yet.
Okay, gross. I didn't expect to hear that today.
But it is about being vulnerable to the state. And often what happens is once we open that door, and it's, it's like an acceptable level of, vulnerability. Once you open that, essentially you're setting the bar for the friendship, even a new friendship. And you're saying, I'm willing to let my guard down to this place. I'm willing to be vulnerable to this place.
Yes.
To which the other person is generally becomes also, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And quickly within that level of vulnerability, you discover, oh, this new friendship is probably one worth pursuing, or maybe it's not.
Yeah. And sometimes people right away, you can tell, are not willing to be vulnerable at all.
Yeah.
And so, that doesn't mean you give up on the person. It's just going to take longer.
But you've had friendships or people you've met, and you can tell within the first 15, 20, 30 minutes, I'm going to like you.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Or you have a depth or a vulnerability or an easiness about you that says...
when I heard her interview, I was actually kind of encouraged because I thought to myself, I do this.
Yes, you do.
And I didn't always. And I decided to start doing this. And I don't know about how long ago, but the older you get and the longer you live, I don't have anything to prove. I mean, failure in life can be a gift.
Yeah.
And so I usually will throw out a self-deprecating comment pretty quickly with people that says, hey, I'm not perfect.
Right.
I've got this going on. So like a good example for that would, and I do it without thinking. It's kind of become habit.
Yeah, you're really good at it.
So, I want to be authentic with people.
Yes.
And that's a high value to me. And I want that back from people. So a good example might be like if somebody says to me at the gym, hey man, how you doing? Whatever. Instead of saying great, usually without even thinking about it, I'll say, hey, 14-year-old girls are fun.
Yeah.
Huh? Like if I know they have a teenager or,
You don't say that to a guy, but yeah. Where's this going,
I
ma'am?
should have qualified my statement. Like with the girls in the back that I know are moms.
Right.
I'll say, well, or whatever. And I'll be like, well, it was a real, real winter at our house this morning.
Yeah.
Something funny.
Yes.
And then almost always it results in somebody saying, oh, dude, I know,
and that's
man.
not trying to...
No, you're not trying to trash on anybody.
Our daughter.
Oh my gosh, she's awesome. It's
she is awesome.
But being a
it's
human is hard.
Yes.
Yeah, or I could say, how's it going? Well, financial insecurity is a good time or whatever, And so you don't even really have to be, I tend to go right for it.
Yes.
There are levels of that. You could even say, man, I tell you what, I'm okay, but like this spring allergy season is a rough one. Or do you have any allergies? I mean, and then, something that reveals a little bit about who you are that says to that person, I'm not perfect. I don't have it all together.
Yeah.
I'm not here for success. And then it's interesting because almost always people will respond with their own thing. Oh, dude, I know, man, my nose is running 24/7. Possible friendship immediately.
Yes.
And then there's that person every once in a while that's like, oh, well, that's too bad for you or whatever, and they move on.
Yeah.
And then,
and you can't do anything about that.
No, that's right.
But I can say, well, I think a couple of things here that come to mind from that is that, we generally get to set the bar in relationships. And if you want to be better than everybody else, well, that's a high bar that most people don't want to achieve. And they don't feel comfortable in it.
Yeah.
I think also when we, and again, it's not about oversharing in the wrong sense. But,
Right.
But when we are self-deprecating, it also lets the bar down for us. I no longer have to keep this image up.
This charade.
I no longer have to tell this person that I'm perfect and that I'm cool and that I'm working on cool things.
Right.
And you should admire me. I don't have to keep that image up anymore. So they're not disappointed later when they find out that I'm actually an idiot, or that I don't have short-term memory anymore, or that I'm not super strong, and that I'm not really in shape, and that I'm not really funny, all those kinds of things. And so it really helps me if I don't have to keep up that air anymore, and I can just say, this is really who I am.
Yeah, exactly.
And so from the beginning, that's that. And it's so that I think both of those things are really important in ongoing friendships and relationships.
Well, it's a lot of what we do actually when we get together. We do our Dreamers Live events, is we're trying to provide venues,
yes,
or theaters, as they used to say, for people to gather and maybe get to know one another.
Right.
And so, not always, but there are opportunities no one's ever forced to share.
Yes.
But if we do like group discussions and people end up wanting to share, something that they're going through or whatever, everybody else in that circle that has heard somebody say, I'm really struggling with this, or, whatever, or I've thought this about that, feels like they know them better. So it opens up a connection, and they may find that person after and say, oh man, I really related when you said that.
Well, and it helps everybody involved. Like I'm thinking about, okay, so in this conversation that Leslie was having, she was, she also talks about things about, sometimes in a relationship, it's like sharing something you've never shared with somebody else kind of thing. And all that kind of stuff. And I think the moment we do that, and a lot of times we don't share it for a reason. So it's either something we're highly embarrassed of or whatever. But the moment that happens, even for the person who's sharing it, so often either it's just a physical release to get that out and open or whatever, but it also just opens this door for somebody else to say, oh my God, you too?
Yeah.
Like there are moments, like I was thinking about this today. I walked out of the house and I happened to look up and our street number is on some wrought iron at the top of our entry.
Oh, right.
And I looked at it and it was, and I saw the number and I was thinking, what's so funny is I was somewhere the other day.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to write down the address, and I wasn't quite sure.
Our address?
Yeah, I was
man.
oh my gosh,
quick memory lapse.
Was it 1400? Was it 1450?
Well,
was it 1420?
You go back to the former house that you lived in. And you're
and then I was thinking, that's so embarrassing. If someone knew that I was actually having trouble remembering my own address for a split, for a minute. And then I'm thinking, no, if that's happening for me,
it's happening for other people.
It's happening for everyone.
Yeah.
The fact that you somehow can't remember how to spell a word that you've been spelling your entire life.
Oh, man, that happens.
Or whatever it is, or you can't remember a birthday. And so it doesn't really mean that you're necessarily losing your mind, though it might, I don't know. But the moment you relate that to somebody, it's like, oh, me too.
Yeah, they're like, they're like,
the
other day.
I'm not losing my mind. This is a common human experience.
Exactly.
And
that's it. Yeah. That's what we're looking for is common human experiences.
Yeah.
And you have the, when you're with somebody, everybody's comfortable sharing at a different level. Mm-hmm. But, people, you guys that are listening, you can try it. I mean, I'm comfortable saying, it's really been the shits today.
Right.
Not everybody is. But you could say, you can reveal yourself just a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm pretty good, but some people in my family are going through some health stuff. It's been kind of hard. Or you could say something funny. I drove over here and hit a squirrel.
We don't have to default to fine. How's your day? Oh, it's fine.
I mean, that's stupid. Why even say that?
Yeah. Well, it's just a short thing that we do. But
good.
And also most people ask the question without really caring about the answer. They're expecting you to answer fine.
You could rephrase that the way you ask people, which is interesting because we always say, "How are you doing?" Mm-hmm. You could say, "What's your morning been like?"
Yes, right.
Or something else that sort of requires a little bit more from them.
I've gotten into how's the day. How's the day been?
How's the day?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
And it's interesting now. Somehow that does allow someone to answer.
Yeah.
A little more
personal.
Honestly.
I usually say that. That's one of
How's your morning been? What's the day been like?
Yeah, that's one of my go-tos. Like if we go to Starbucks
your dad
or
is
something.
Fond of saying how people are treating you today.
How are people treating you today?
Especially if you're like in the service industry, like
at
the
Starbucks
barista
or He always says, people playing nice today. Yeah. That's one of his things. But you can say that's one of my standard answers anytime I'm with like someone's checking me out, a cashier or whatever, is is I'll say, when they're ringing stuff up, they'll ask what I want. I'm like, hi. They're ringing stuff up, and I'll say, how's your day been so far?
Yeah.
Which is different even than, how are you? It says, I care about how your day's been.
Yes.
And so even if it's a quick connection, almost always, what's sweet is they'll say, oh, it's been okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for asking.
Yes.
You ever hear somebody say that? Thanks for asking,
Yeah.
which is really sweet. It means that's nice that you care
Right.
enough that you asked, and it doesn't really take but a few seconds.
Right.
But yet I've connected with that person in a little bit deeper way than, how are you? Fine.
Yeah.
Well,
it's obvious, that this kind of vulnerability, this kind of sharing, this kind of giving away information is absolutely essential for depth in the relationships and friendships. And it's the kind of thing that, it's not that there aren't issues occasionally, but it's the kind of thing that's essential for a relationship of depth. And it also is so rewarding to be known. If you don't know someone deep enough for them to know something's wrong with you, then you don't know them deep enough. If you don't know someone deep enough that you can't recognize when things are good for them, share in a joy with them, share in a heartache with them, those kinds of things, then we don't know them well enough.
Yeah.
And in this conversation with Leslie, she noted this study that they did in Australia that was done by people who are work in hospice, and so end of the life scenario.
Yes.
And it's not a new thing. This isn't groundbreaking, but it is such a great reminder. Mm-hmm. So these people who are in a hospice, who are always with people who are near the end of life. Mm-hmm. And so based on that, what are the commonalities of people that experience in this moment? What are the things that they regret, or what are the things they wish for? What are the things that they want?
Right.
And so often the things that they make the same statements over and over again. And in a study, they kind of narrowed it down to the top 5 or 10, I forget now. But, things that people said the most, just completely reoccurring all the time. Yeah. I wish I had not let those relationships go, especially relationships from when we were younger. Yeah. That felt like it was too much work to keep up, or that felt like we would feel awkward if we tried to reconnect with somebody from high school or from grade school or whatever that meant something to us. All the so time and time again, when you're dying, the things you feel are, I wish I had not worked so much. I wish I had not let go of those relationships. I wish I would have invested more in these friendships. I wish I had more depth in those friendships. I wish I would have told these people the way I felt about them.
And another one, which I thought was really interesting, was I wish I had felt free to be myself more.
Yes.
That one really resonates. I mean, I feel like, humans are humans, whether you're in India or you're in the United States of America or wherever. But there's something about Western culture, and particularly in the United States of America, I feel like our culture, like we talked about earlier, we value independence, freedom, financial success, entrepreneurial thinking. Those are all excellent qualities. Mm-hmm. But because that's sometimes our highest value, we spend a lot of our time keeping up appearances with people, which is, I'm successful, things are going great. How are you? Great. My kids are at Harvard, or, whatever level you're in, or great. I just, discovered this. When the truth is, what we really want is to connect with people on a real level. What we really need are those friendships. And then I feel like that's exacerbated in the age of social media, where we're all, just there like trying to put this perfect profile on Instagram of our perfect children doing this stuff. Well, that is just bull hockey, as they say in Oklahoma. And so you can keep up those appearances your entire existence and be very lonely. Yeah. Or you can choose to reveal yourself a little bit. Right. And I love it because it becomes like a new sort of baseline. Like you said, we can set the bar. Right. But I mean, those are things that we're going to have to lead out in because they're countercultural. Yeah.
So I think you can say two things in that. I mean, like one, if you ask yourself, okay, why don't I have more relationships with depth? Yeah. Why don't I have more deep? Why don't I have deeper friendships? Why don't I have people I can call on? Well, part of that may be that you're not extending yourself.
Yeah.
That you're not letting other people know, okay, I'm ready to go to this depth or level.
Yeah.
It's not always it's not always the situation, but it's part of it. Are you, what's the proverb? If the one who wants friends must first show himself friendly.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. The first that wants depth. Are you giving depth? Are you?
Yeah.
And sometimes you are, and sometimes it's just the wrong people group, and we have to kind of extend that. But
sure.
But that vulnerability, that sharing is like a business card introduction when you go out to other people.
Yeah.
So the more that we extend that, the more we will find those people that want to have those kind of relationships.
Yeah.
And the other thing I think that you have to kind of recognize in this too is that this practice is like building a muscle.
Yes.
So yes, most of us are uncomfortable being vulnerable at that level. Most of us are uncomfortable looking foolish by confessing. I couldn't remember my address for a minute. Most of us are uncomfortable looking that way. We all want to be the man or be the woman or whatever.
Look good in front of people.
And so doing this is a little difficult, especially in the beginning. But the more we practice it, the easier it becomes, like you were talking about, and you are really good at this.
Well,
and I'm not just saying that because you're here.
I'm also,
though this would be an awkward conversation by myself.
A textbook extrovert, and that's a difference.
But you have made you've made an intentional effort to become a sharer.
Yeah,
and to make yourself vulnerable in that way, and like I've joked about you before, that when we go to parties and stuff, you play by prison rules. So you go to find the person that is often
the most intimidating.
The most intimidating.
Yeah.
You introduce yourself and you are vulnerable in front of those people.
Yeah.
And it's,
I did it the other day, actually.
I'm thinking about the dog picture again now, and the way that sometimes when two dogs meet each other, and if there's another dog that's kind of really wanting to make a connection, they come up to the other dog and then they kind of turn their butt to the new dog.
Well, they do.
And say, hey, this is me, and I just want you to know. And the other dog kind of sniffs and says, okay, you're good people. And
so let's not do that.
You don't have to ask them to sniff your butt, but the principle is, it is the one dog initiating vulnerability.
One dog's like, hey, I'm going to show you my butt first.
I'm going to let you sniff my butt first. And if you're not intimidated when you're done, then we can be friends.
But that's if you have to be willing to show your butt.
You have to show your butt. You have to show your cards. No, but it's
true though.
And so this thing, it is about being intentional. It is about letting our guard down. It is about at some level saying, I want this quality of life, and this quality of life requires being vulnerable to an extent and sharing myself to an extent. And I know that when I do that, it won't work every time. Yeah. I know that not everybody will respond to that all the way. Right. Or they may not respond to it immediately, but it's going to set something in their brain. And probably the next time I see them, they're going to respond.
They'll think I'm safe.
They'll be more comfortable. And sometimes it takes a couple of times.
Yeah.
We have known some people that it took 3 and 4 and 5 times of being with them for them to lower their guard and to be chill and to know, oh, you're trustworthy.
Yes.
Oh, I can entrust myself to you.
Yeah.
And then it becomes really, really worth it.
Yeah, it does.
But this thing is, it's a little bit like we talk about this thing with see it and say it. So seeing the good in someone and then telling them, this is what I see in you.
Yeah.
Which is powerful on so many different levels. And if you can go back and look at that podcast if you want to, see it and say it.
See it,
but
say, yeah.
Part of it is getting in the habit of seeing the good in someone and then telling them.
Yes.
And what that opens up when we do that.
Yeah, that's another way. And that's another way. And here's the truth. It really is about the concept of being willing to reveal something about yourself, being vulnerable and being authentic. Because one of the toughest things you can do if you're insecure is to find somebody else, and we all struggle with that at different levels, is to find somebody else that is in a similar place in life that you're in, whether that's work-wise or whatever, and then compliment them.
Right.
And then
oh my gosh,
say
absolutely.
to them, hey, I see that you and I do the same thing and you're really good at it this way.
Right.
And also that is a fast track to friendship.
Absolutely.
Right there. And
seeing good in someone, telling them the good you see in it. Yeah.
And sometimes it is a little awkward at first, but it also, man, deflector shields come down,
Yes.
especially when you're in a setting like, I know a lot of you guys that listen are in, corporate setting in your job, or
Right.
perhaps you volunteer and you're on different boards that are, you're seeing people on a semi-regular basis.
Right.
But it takes a while if you only have that board meeting once a month. But if you are willing to say to somebody after a meeting, hey, I really thought that was cool the way you handled that when you said this. You're really good at this.
Yes.
It's awkward
Absolutely.
for a second, but you can have an instant friend, man, if you just look for the good and tell somebody that.
And
you
just
know?
like, oversharing, it will sometimes be awkward at
Yeah,
first.
a little-
Just know
just-
in advance,
It's
this
going
is
to be
probably
awkward.
going to be awkward.
Embrace the awkward.
And you just know it. And then when it's not, or if it's not, then it's
Yeah.
a surprise. And it's,
Yeah,
but it's
so
pleasant.
you can avoid awkwardness
But
at all
both of
costs.
those,
And
both of those steps, see it and say it and sharing, they achieve the same thing. They make the other person feel comfortable.
that's right.
It allows them to be more responsive.
Yeah.
But it requires us to kind of be vulnerable.
It does.
So
What's
even
interesting, though,
even
is
complimenting someone makes you vulnerable.
it does, and maybe one of the two of those might be more comfortable for people that are listening. It could be that it's tougher for you to share something vulnerable about yourself initially, and that's okay. Like I specialize in that, but for some people that would be really difficult. Maybe it's easier for you to say something good about someone else, and then it will get easier to reveal more about yourself. But
Right.
either one of those opens the door
Yeah.
for a potential connection.
Yes.
I mean, they're both as valuable, and you can avoid awkwardness at all costs and be really lonely.
Yeah.
Or you can give it a whirl and
Yeah.
invite somebody to coffee, or just say, "Hey, I like your shirt. You're pretty fashionable."
Yeah, exactly. So I think, if you're looking at takeaways, I think one, the big takeaway is that humans save lives. So our relationships with other humans save our lives, save the quality of life, but also,
Yeah.
and we've said it 1,000 times, but it's everything. Our social relationship right now is everything. It is the super drug. And so to achieve that requires us to let our guard down, to share with somebody at a depth that cost us something, that has some
Yeah,
vulnerability
that's
to
right.
it.
It costs a little bit.
Yeah. And so saying, this is how I really feel, this is the thing I'm struggling with, this is my thought. And you'll get lines from people to start knowing what that level of intimacy is going to be like for them or not.
Yeah.
But in there will be some relationships that will be life-changing.
Yeah.
But it requires us to take that risk. And the other takeaway is that we know that sometimes that will be awkward. It won't always be met with rainbows and butterflies.
Yeah.
It won't always
Just
be
move on if
heartstrings,
it's not.
but a lot of times there will be. And it will be worth it.
I
in
think
the
so. And
process.
a lot of what we spend time on this Hope for Humans podcast is trying to help ourselves and helping people around us learn how to make deeper and more meaningful connections with people.
Yeah.
And it's, we've heard a lot about this loneliness epidemic.
Yes.
And
it
in
is
our
an epidemic.
country.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, we've never been more connected, yet know less about the people
Right.
around us, our neighbors, our friends. And it's a dangerous place to be.
Yes.
And so we can live in that, or we can take some risks here and there to show our cards to people.
Absolutely.
And little by little, it can get better.
Yeah.
I didn't used to have the meaningful contacts that I have now, as much
Right.
as I can have more than I have time for
Yeah.
now. And it is worth it. And I know that's easier for some people than others, but we want people to have lives that are worth living.
Absolutely.
And that's why we're willing to show our cards on this podcast.
So true. We hope that you will show your cards when you show up to Dreamers Live on May 1st, too, by the way.
Yes.
We're excited about seeing you guys in person. We love having these conversations with you on the podcast, but we really love seeing you, too. So make plans. Join us on Friday, May 1st. And please give us feedback from you guys if there are things you want to talk about. But I love this thing that we always end with, where you can go out and continue this conversation. Evangeline will tell you the same thing here in just a second. Continue this conversation. Go get coffee or a beer with somebody and
Yes.
and just talk about things and
Yeah,
share and be a little awkward and overshare.
that's right. Try oversharing.
Try oversharing
I
a little
love
bit,
it.
and you can
It's
always
good.
rein things back in. And
Yes,
work out
you
the-
might end up with some friends.
That's absolutely true. All right, friends. Until next time, peace out.
See you later.
Thanks for listening. Please like, subscribe, and share this episode. And remember, continue this conversation with someone you know. This is Pioneer Dream.